organizations such as Crisis Coalition in Zimbabwe will definitely attract the celebration from individuals such as Professor Jonathan Moyo, who wants the ZANU-PF to continue to thrive in Zimbabwe, abusing and violating the rights of the citizens of Zimbabwe. It collapsed because we know that Donald Trump suspended all foreign funding, particularly to third world countries. So his administration took that decision, and it's a celebration, especially for detectives across the globe, because it means now they will be trampling on the rights of the citizens without any organizations that will come to the aid of the citizens. Professor Jonathan Moyo is the brains behind the 2030 term extension for Emerson Dambudzo Mnangagwa. He is the main who has actually contributed a lot in terms of ZANU-PF brutality in Zimbabwe, dating back from 1999 up to the time he left Zimbabwe, when he was actually chased through a coup that saw Robert Mugabe, his preferred president, then losing power from Mnangagwa. They became fierce enemies, only to reconcile. But Mnangagwa is, Professor Jonathan Moyo is yet to touch to the soils of Zimbabwe. He is still backing in the foreign land of Kenya, because Zimbabwe, that he supports under ZANU-PF, led him to be in a certain corner in Kenya and back in that particular corner. Greetings and welcome to your lovely channel, the Hlonipani Global News. If you're watching us for the very first time, please do remember to press the red or black subscribe button, so that next time when we beam live, you become the very first one to watch us. So this is what Professor Jonathan Moyo had to write. He says, the Crisis Coalition in Zimbabwe dissolves. And he writes, following the crumble of donor-funded crisis fiction, he calls it crisis fiction. Extract from attached Crisis Coalition in Zimbabwe press. In highlight of the intensifying repression, shrinking civil space, and the systematic use of the law to crush pro-democracy forces, the membership unanimously resolved that it is in the best strategic interest of the Crisis in Zimbabwe Coalition to dissolve its current organizational structure with immediate effect and deliberate on a renewed strategic direction. Comment. So Crisis Coalition has just announced its dissolving after 25 years, citing intensifying repression as the reason. Yet the coalition was in the first place reportedly created to fight exactly that, dissolving itself because the crisis it was built to tackle is allegedly worsening, is peak irony. That is Professor Jonathan Moyo. In any event, the idea that a coalition that has dissolved itself with immediate effect will thereafter deliberate on a renewed strategic direction is an outrageous non-sequitur. How can a non-existent organization deliberate on anything? There is an unspoken truth here. He says the 25-year-old crisis fiction, he calls it a fiction, is in the Crisis in Zimbabwe Coalition, no longer, fiction in the Crisis in Zimbabwe Coalition no longer has takers among unconvinced and fatigued donors re-strategizing their foreign policies. This shift is triggered by the US, where the Trump administration has thrown democracy, geopolitics out the window in favor of a new approach under Trump's controversial and dangerous Donroe Doctrine, based on the use and projection of US strength, force, and power around the world, as recently witnessed in Venezuela and the ongoing Greenland saga. In particular, the Crisis Coalition in Zimbabwe has dissolved itself because the US legislation that enabled its creation 25 years ago in 2001, the Zimbabwe Democracy and Recovery and Economic Recovery Act ZEDERA of 2001 is being repealed under Section 303 of HR 5300. The Department of State Policy Provision Act, currently before the House of Representatives in the US Congress, and because of the funding and effective disbandment of the United States Agency for International Development, the main instrument used to found and fund the Crisis Coalition in Zimbabwe. So Professor Jonathan Moyo, celebrating on that fact, I did not shy away that part of the reasons for this, even though it was not documented in the statement by Crisis Coalition, it is lack of funding, because the United States of America decided to terminate funding for African activists who are pushing for democracies in their respective countries. This is making dictators to celebrate, but also this is a good thing, because Africans will then devise African solutions to actually fight their own political problems. This thing of donor funding was actually destroying our minds as Africans. I know a lot of people have lost employment. They were relying on such employment, but it was bound to come to this stage. So Crisis Coalition in Zimbabwe has been dissolved. I think largely it is because of the financial crisis. And Professor Jonathan Moyo celebrating that, obviously misrepresenting the facts in the context of ZANU-PF, that it was created because of ZEDERA. There is absolutely nothing like that. It was created to promote democracy in Zimbabwe, a goal that has not been achieved. But that does not mean that Zimbabweans cannot sit down as a community and take the initiative in their own hands. Homegrown solutions may be better than solutions that are pushed through foreign money. Thank you very much for watching us. If you are watching us for the very first time, please do remember to press the red or black subscribe button, so that next time when we beam live, you become the very first one to watch us. Okanqungu is signing out. Let me love and leave you. Let's meet on the other side of the live broadcast as I